I think it takes towels.
No, I didn't have to. Call your yes, we did. Because your guys were there, your forced
Still afraid of the fire.
Hicks. Another says Mr. Hicks speaks very fast at the blackboard. He writes with one hand and erases with the other. Complaints, slow down, I haven't finished copying, are met with a merciless, forget that, I'm over here at the other end of the blackboard. Some facts about Cochise demands. Now, he would say he's done nothing, but OSSTF president, organizer of the gala, acting vice principal, mathematics head, expert on cooperative learning, OSSTF awards, home renovator, owner of a pool table, and a pinball machine, a windsurfer, expert, skier, tennis player, swimmer, piano player. I once asked Max what he liked about being president of OSSTF, and it was the chairing of the meeting that turned him on. Chairing of meetings, he thrives in controlling controversial debates and motions. His ability to see through, he has the ability to see through fuzziness, to clarify, to keep things on track, to get things done, and yet make people feel comfortable. All the meetings I've watched him chair, he guides to the destination, much like his 9G math classes. Whom he treats with respect, keeps things rolling, he motivates, makes things happen. Put people with Max, and they work. Make no mistake, he's got tough rules, and they respect toughness. Many do not realize how tough Max is. Few people know that for 2 years he was a mercenary in Angola. It's ruthless streak sometimes surfaces around here. In the math office, when Max's left eye begins to twitch, we stay clear. Max is a romantic guy. Fell in love with a beautiful woman, married on Canada Day at the top of the West End, and the fireworks were excellent that night. When Max and Mary get together, there's still fireworks. Recently I had a conversation, was in a conversation about heroes. Who are your heroes? 2 names came to mind. Superman and Max Hicks. Max, you're a hero to many, a superman, a gentleman, and a gentleman. Max, Cochise, as you begin your excellent adventure, we say good luck to a real hero, and in this bag is a shirt just like mine.
Walking in front of you?
Thank you very much, John. Actually, after all that, I should just say thank you to sit down. Thank you very much, John. And thank you for showing up today, because it really gives me an opportunity to say thank you. Quite some time ago, I realized that the one thing that I could do was recognize when other people had good ideas. So over the past 27 years that I've been in Ottawa, what I've been doing is stealing all your ideas. Everybody I've met, I mean, I was absolutely good was if you had a good idea, I took it. Most of the time I didn't bother telling you. If I had had any success whatsoever, it's because I watched other people do something well, and I would try it. But now I know I only have 4 minutes. That was the timeline. I'll stick to that.
She's ruthless.
So I can't individually say thank you. So collectively, I would say thank you for your contribution to me. Well, when I started 34 years ago, every month or so I'd go in to see the principal and say this about. At the end of the year, I'm quitting this. And he wouldn't say much, but about a week or so later, this guy, his name was Hugh Noble, would come back from down from, he actually was one of my instructors during my teacher training. He'd show up and he'd spend part of the day with me or whatever. And then at the end of that time, he'd have me convinced to hang around for a while. Said, things will get better. Well, now, 34 years later, right, I'm acting vice principal, and every Friday, Joy and Barry would come in and say, hang in there, things are going to get better. Next year, I agree. I just want to thank specifically those people that I either got me involved or I became involved with in the Federation, because that was a very important part of my life, and it gave me a chance to meet all kinds of people that I wouldn't normally have met through my teaching career. You only meet teachers, the school you're at, or in your department, mathematics. But being in the Federation, I got a chance to meet all kinds of people, not only in the province, but not only in the city, but throughout the province. And that I have to thank those people who got me involved in that, and B, then all the people that I met while I was there. I have to single out Pat Holloway to thank. I'm not sure if he's here, but Pat came to talk to the math heads one day, one afternoon. He was supposed to have an hour to talk to us, but of course we argued about the square root of something or whatever it was, so we only had 10 minutes left. So he gave the entire 1 hour speech in 10 minutes. Well, Pat can do that, right? And anyway, at the end of that time, he gave me some ideas, and I actually tell Pat all kinds of leeway to things that I wanted. And then had a chance to work with Anna, who gave me again the chance to work in other than math in General Level Enrichment, which was fantastic. And Joy, who gave me the... I should thank Joy. Rephrasing it. I'll thank Joy and Barry for all the help they gave me while I was doing that job. But last, I have to thank whoever made that decision at the board to send me to Canterbury, because even though I didn't know it at the time, I met someone who was going to become my best friend and my wife. That's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm going to look forward to retirement, but I will miss you. I will miss all the people that I worked with and met, no question whatsoever. And whenever there's an occasion, I certainly will take it to be with you again. So thank you very much, John, for all the kind things you said with me, and thank you for coming this afternoon.
Spoiled the whole thing, but here I am. It's a great pleasure to say goodbye to a man I call my friend. Don't know why, but I call my friend anyway. And Ted's been with me here since 1984 or so. You know, Ted was born in Sudbury. I like to think Sudbury is sort of the Siberia of Canada. I know it's a few people from Sudbury here, but you know, after I've explained it, you'll understand. People who come from Sudbury, they like to think it's sort of the extremities of the earth. It's sort of the frontier where people have to work hard, there's discipline, they overcome adversity, but they never go back. You know, I got this analogy because when you read Russian history, all the revolutionaries, of course, had been sent to Siberia. They'd always tell about their Siberian adventures. They always brought this huge eagle back from their adventures in Siberia, how they had overcome, how many times they had escaped, how many times they were sent back. Boy, Lenin and Stalin, they just love to tell you about their Siberian adventures. So Ted is one of those guys from Canada, Siberia. He likes to tell you about Sudbury, but he never went back. I don't blame him, mind you, you know. It's sort of it's a starting point for a lot of things. You go to Sudbury in the good old days, you got 100 miles east of Sudbury and the goddamn landscape just disappeared. Browned out, it just appeared. But, these people were innovative. They just put them smokestacks another 100 feet higher, and the way that the pollutants went down to Toronto, where, we blame the Americans now for acid rain, but it's all from Sudbury going back on that. Anyway, Ted spent his time in Sudbury, and here he is in Ottawa. Smart move, I guess. He graduated from Sudbury High. When you graduate from Sudbury High in Sudbury, you're a Rhodes Scholar. He continued his education. Didn't go to Oxford, but he went to a few second-rate universities. He went to Western. He went to Drake University in Ottawa, Carleton, and then he went to the Ottawa U as well, and graduated. So here he was. He became a teacher and went to Commerce. Then he went to Sir Wilfrid, and he came to Canterbury in '84, where I met him for the first time, and then he tore him away. I guess I knew him before that, But, I've got to know Ted over the years, and we've been able to exchange dialogue. We used to tell ethnic jokes. I know it's not politically correct to do so, but if you tell ethnic jokes about your own ethnic background, it's okay. So we always did that. We were proper. We weren't quite on the political correct line, but we kept it within our own ethnic background. And Ted might come up to me some morning and say, we did. As a matter of fact, one morning he said, how do you know the street walker is Polish? I said, I don't know, Ted. I really don't know. So he says, the one that flags down the car with the flashing lights. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. And then, of course, I said, well, I'd come back with something, so maybe the same day, maybe it was another day, I said, Ted, how was copper wiring invented? He said, I don't really know, Gord, how copper wire was invented. Well, Ted, I said, I got this joke from Joy Brown. I said, you didn't get it from Joy Brown. Joy Brown does not tell politically improper jokes. Well, I said, it must have come from Joy because can I ask you a question again? How was copper wire created? He said, well, I don't know. Well, he said, two Scots were fighting over a pen. See how mild these ethnic jokes are when you keep it to your own group? Anyway, Ted went on to get married to Joan here sometime in his life. Best movie ever made, right, Joan? Had two girls and one boy, and then he curled and he golfed and whatnot. I've golfed a lot with Ted. But we call it golf. And that reminds me of a golf joke. You learn a lot about a person out in the golf course, and this is a golf story, and there's two people out in the golf course, and one happened to be called Ted, and the other was Joan. Just by accident, they were out there golfing one day, and they were a sunny day like this, beautiful golf day. We're out there going through the motions of playing golf, and get to the 14th hole, 14th fairway, and didn't Joan just have a serious fatal heart attack on the 14th fairway right there? She just fell dead right there. Deader than the doornail, they say in Newfoundland. And so the next day they had the wake, and Ted was there receiving the respects, of course, of his friends and whatnot. And one chap came up to Ted and said, Ted, that must have been a horrific experience. There you were out on the golf course, doing your thing on the golf course. All of a sudden, your wonderful wife Joan just died right in front of you, just collapsed there. It certainly was bad, said Ted. It was just terrible. But, I did my best. I hit the ball, dragged her, hit the ball, dragged her, and I finished the round. That's the way golf is. It's like teaching. The jokes are getting worse, eh? You want John back up here? See, golf is like teaching. When it comes down to the final crunch, you really have to do it yourself. And it doesn't matter who instructs you, whether it's Gerry Manali or whether Max Hicks tells you you have the right way to do it. When it finally gets down to the crunch, you're in there with those bastard kids. And those nice kids, those wonderful children of the wonderful parents of this wonderful country. There they are, right in front of you. You have to do your own thing. So, golf is a great lesson in teaching because that's where you figure out what you have to do when you have to do it. But here, I'm running on my 4 minutes, right, Ted? Over 4 minutes. Ted brought to teaching several things that I admire. He set standards, demanded the standards be met, and he saw them through. He didn't water them down. I think we can learn from that. I think we've watered down a lot of things in education over the years. We want to make it easier for the little children. We want to make it more palatable. And we just want to take some of the stress and strain of it. And you know, I got a quote here from Joseph Howe, that famous maritimer many years ago. Here, listen to this. There is no strength where there is no strain. Seamanship is not learned in calm weather. Ah, that's beautiful. I love that. Seamanship is not learned in calm weather. You don't educate without a little stress and strain, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, Ted, you've done your bit. You don't have to do any more of this. You, as Rudyard Kipling said many years ago, fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Like Rudyard Kipling, too. Ted, come back again. Maybe next year I'm going to take off every second Friday or Monday. Okay? It's been a wonderful thing having you in the department. You were always there. You always did the job. You always set standards. I never had to fuss and worry about what was going on, Ted. Thank you for a good years, Ted, that we had together.
It's been a wonderful career. Something that I'm quite proud of is I can safely say I've taught for 5 decades, even though I started in September of 1959, and of course 1992, so more or less. So it's been a wonderful 33 years. If I had to do it over again, I certainly would do it over again. I guess a lot of people ask me what am I going to do. I'll find plenty to do, I would imagine over the years, but I guess one of the main things that I have discovered is all the good friends that I've met. Some of my finest years, I've only been in basically the forest group. I started off at high school of commerce, the old one here on Arlington Avenue. And then I'm ending up my career here in Canterbury, which to me is a very, very good move. I enjoyed all the 8 years that I've been here. And just to show you the spirit that we've had, I guess that's Walter Laurier, the former curling league, which we still run. I see a lot of my friends are still here today in my honor, and I thank them very much. But all in all, I just want to more or less get away and enjoy myself, and just want to thank all my friends and colleagues over the years for what you've done to me, and I still like to keep in touch with you, which I probably will. To my department head, Gord Sorley, you won't find a nicer guy to be with. We golf together during the summer and go to baseball games and things of this nature, so thank you very much, Gord, for my number card. Not and take it out and so forth. And also to the various principals I've had here in Canterbury. I started with Mr. King, John King, Anna Bowles, who, by the way, Gordon is from Sudbury. So go and of course, Troy Brown. So all in all, thank you very, very kindly for all the good times I've had, and thank you very much for the gift.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I've been given the privilege to say goodbye to our friend Gerry Mallon. Gerry's 34-year career has seen many changes. How could he have known what lay ahead when he played professional baseball in the Midwest? He learned there, though, that self-discipline, mental preparation, intelligent man is a perfectionist. He sets high standards for himself and demands the same of others. Just ask anyone who's been his defense partner on Monday Night Watch, or seen him sing Clutch Putt to qualify for the Quebec amateur. Gerry prides himself in his mastery of the English language. Who else can correct spelling and grammatical errors found in the memo from the Director of Education? This free thinker is always looking for innovation. He's constantly leaving articles of interest on my desk. Just yesterday, he proudly showed me his new golf clubs. There's space-age technology, carbon composite shafts with forged cabin back blades. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just ask me. Not only will he tell you what they do, but how they improve the golf swing, and then he'll show you what and how he changed it. By the way, he's still working on the patent for his long shafted putter, which is in the past, he accomplished championships in wrestling, football, basketball, and track at Hillcrest, Sir John A. Tech, and Cameron. In a previous marriage, he helped to raise 3 successful children, Patty, Michael, and Stephen. He's now a proud grandfather. We have a saying in sports that you're only as good as your last outing. Gerry took advantage of his brief modeling career to meet and marry his wife, Lynn. Last year, Matthew was born. Gerry also won the Ottawa District Senior Golf Championships. The only thing that Gerry will boast about, though, is Matthew and his happy home life in cars. Gerry, you may be retired, but you'll never stop teaching. Good luck to you and Lynn and Matthew and the rest of your life. Please accept this gift. Thank you very much, sir. Before I get into something other than the things that I want to reply to here about, I want to thank the organizers of this event. I know it's not done yet, but Sheila Meg and the other people I didn't do this. Thank you very much. I just want to reply to Steve's comment about the last outing. That's not the way it's done. Anyway, he's right on about the many things he said, obviously, but the one about meeting my wife and Matthew is going to be quite an interesting story, Matthew, but I'm not going to bore you with this. But the interesting story is that my wife never had any children, and so we talked about it. She said, I'd love to have a child. That's fantastic. That's why I'm here. I said I had a proven track record. I did 3 times and had 3 children. And so far as I know, they're all over the world now, but they're seemingly healthy. And so after a couple of unfortunate circumstances, Matthew came along and child for himself. He's a real godsend. We're very thankful for him. And we're looking forward to spending a lot of time, obviously, a lot more time now. See him grow. It's going to be a real enjoyable experience. It's funny, I was thinking about my first 3, and I was at Hillcrest, and one year at Hillcrest I coached 5 teams. Quite interesting. I coached the football team, boys junior basketball, the hockey, and wrestling, and in the spring I did track and field. And my wife, my first wife, said, you seem to be spending more time with other people's kids than your own. And I sometimes now think about it, she's right. And unfortunately, perhaps sometimes too high for myself, but I think the people that I come in contact with in the athletic endeavors that I've been in realize that George Tutt, Dr. School today, his daughter Laura was there, and George was wrestling for me, and he was the first champion in wrestling from this area. And now he's quite successful in that. He has a series of bookstores there. My son happened to be in that, so I told him I would move back to give him a job. Anyways, I wanted to mention a couple of things that it's funny how things happen. I came here in 1961, and I opened Milk Press. I was there for 5 years, and I had a really good reputation. I had outstanding athletes. You know, there's an old saying about coaching. If you have superior athletes, like I had Rory Prince and Tommy Dempsey and some of these kids, they were the one in spite of it. If you have a terrible team, they're never going to win, no matter how great a coach you are. So the only time the coaching will ever have any real effect is when the team is mediocre. We can make it, bring them up to a higher level. So I was very fortunate at Hillcrest. I had some tremendously gifted, committed athletes, and so I was successful there with many different teams. I never played a lot of football. I wasn't a wrestler, and I wasn't a gymnast. I had successful championship teams in a lot of these sports because I cared and I wanted to learn with the kids. And it was quite interesting. Then I went to Sir John A. And so I came there as a successful, Tommy and I were together, a successful football coach. I went over there trying to say, okay, we're going to have a successful program. We had no field. We had no gym. So we went over to the park, which the field was 23 yards wide. And we practiced our pitch plays and our defense against pitch plays. In the first game, we went over to Orange Field to play against Maryville. Maryville at this time, I guess the two boards were melted in football. They had a kid named Lee Lyons, who was the fastest runner in the city, running fast. And the first play, Nelson Montfort, bless his soul, was coaching them. And the first play for Maryville was pitch right to Lee Lyons, around the end, and touchdown. We got the ball back after we picked it back after 3 plays. Pitch left, touchdown. The score at halftime was 56-0. The successful football coach went from them. And after the game, Nelson said, gee, you know, your guys didn't react very well. We've been training on the field 23 yards wide. All of a sudden, we got this huge. I only ran as far as I went, we're in somebody's backyard. So they have to pull up. It was great, but probably the proudest moment at Sir John A. was I had a kid named Gord Still, and I know Richard and Ross Dawes and some people who were there at Johnny with me will remember Gord. He's now actually a big wheel with Pepsi Cola in the city. And he was 156 pounds soaking wet. He was playing slot back, and we played against a team at Fisher Park when they had Jeff Taggart and what's the other kid's name around there? The defensive tackle, Turcotte. And Taggart, 2 kids were 6'5", 256 pounds. And Gordy Still's job was to block. He blocked down. So he came back, and Gordy was 5'6". We started the game. He came back at halftime. He was 5'1". And he was bloody. And he said, "Geez, I'm starting to wear him down." So they went out that game, and Fisher Park had been winning 56-0, 63-0, 82-0, everything. At halftime, the score in our game was 0-0. So I walked in halftime and I said, "The best show I've ever seen by a football team I've coached." They said, "But sir, what are you talking about? We're not winning." I said, "Hey, it doesn't matter what's on the scoreboard. You're winning." We lost the game 12-0, and I patted them all on the back because it was a fantastic effort. And so we had great kids there too. But the outstanding story, and too bad Ted Terry's not here. Ross knows the story because it's been told many times. Where I was the head, Ted Terry and Bob Ford were working in my department in phys ed. And at that time, Chief and some of the phys ed guys related to this, we had class leaders. And the leader would come in and you get the attendance sheet, and you go out and you take the attendance and you give the warm-up to the class. So one day, I was away and Ted was sitting there, and Ted has a very dry sense of humor. Kid class leader comes running in, and he grabs the attendance sheet and looks at Ted and says, "Where's Miss Pinelli?" Ted says, "He's away." He says, "Oh, why?" And Ted said, "He died." And he gives
stopped for a second. He said, "Oh, does that mean we have a spare?" Ted told me, and I have to just relate to the way I heard it. And that's how grateful the kids are because you're bringing a championship. This wonderful coach and organizer and innovator and everything, now he died and he was. So some of those things were in my mind, and I promised you I'd tell that story. Quite interesting. Anyway, I went to Sir Johnny when it opened. So it opened Hillcrest and it opened Sir Johnny, and every time I went there, it had no field, no gym. So we were in the woodworking shop, playing floor hockey and trying to do something with the kids to keep them from climbing up the walls. Sometimes they were climbing up the walls, that was part of the But then I went to Tech. And I was at Tech for 1 year. What did they do at Tech? They renovated. So he said, "Oh, sorry, you haven't got a gym again." So I got used to it by now. So I had cross-country skiing, we had an alley ball in the snow, and we kept on doing all these things outside because I had nothing else to do with it. But I went to the semester there and went through the renovations. Then I came to Canterbury. I kept getting kicked out of school. So I came to Canterbury, and it was quite interesting here because there's a tremendous amount of satisfaction. I'll never forget the first assembly here. Tremendously talented people in the arts field, and whether you know it or not, I'm not really that much of a jock. I like classical music, and I like ballet and all these other things which I'm not supposed to, I guess. But according to Monday Night Hockey. So I really appreciated this, and then shortly after I worked with the Girls Touch Football team here, they presented me a Golden Apple Award. And I said, "Well, how important is this award?" And they said, "Well, we give it about once every 20 years. And it was something coming from the students saying, "Thank you very much for being the person that you are and doing what you are doing for us," which is obviously the greatest compliment these days from the students' life. Then did anybody ever see the Lou Gehrig story on TV? Or on, I guess on TV now, but it was a really a great line, and I'll never forget, I cried my eyes when I kept seeing it. And he talked about, remember, he was dying, and they had this big day against him, and he said, "See, I consider myself the luckiest man in Greenwood." And you know, I was thinking about that my wife was driving the van, and the sound came out from the cars, and I was thinking about that, and I really am, you know. I still have some degree of good health. I have magnificent friends. I have a wonderful wife and obviously a great child. And so I am very, very lucky. And I have a few legacies. I don't know if that many people know this, but I was the one who named Hillcrest the Hawks. Tony Duncan came to me one day and he said, "I'm opening a new school called Confederation. I need some colors." I said, "There's a school in Toronto called De La Salle. And there's colors that are red, white, and green. Why don't you try those? Those are today's Confederation colors." A kid named Rod Cars was a student teacher of mine at Sir John A. He was opening 3 schools. He said, "Well, what colors can I use?" I said, "Why don't you try Syracuse University colors? They're great colors. The blue, orange, and white." So there are a few legacies, plus the new Canterbury Charters logo that Ross has on his new cap. Joy received her cap yesterday, and Ross got his new cap today coming in as a principal here. So there are a few things, and I just want to say something to the teachers. I know I'm over my time, Sheila, but it's never going to happen again. Sheila and I have a wonderful relationship. You know, she picks on me, I pick on her. But I just want to say to the teachers, I think it's important to maintain high standards. I think our kids really need that striving for excellence is really important. Whether you attain it or not, as long as you strive for it. They need you there. Create a structured environment within which they can work. I find that over the years that I've taught, if I don't have a structured environment, whether I'm teaching physics or health or anything else, or coaching a team, allow them to work, we have chaos. There's nothing there. The kids rely on us to create an environment within which they can work and develop, and it's our responsibility to do that. And I think that the majority of people that I've met in my years have done a magnificent job, and it is worth all the abuse you get from the outsiders who don't know anything we're doing here. And I just think
like to say thank you very much to all my friends that I gained through teaching, and all the people who are here. May they rejoice. Thank you very much.
Back here to visit today to recognize these worthy people that we're honoring today. For example, Jeff Hill was here for 1,000,000 years, and Larry Jones was here 1,000,000 years. These guys were pioneers. They helped open Canterbury. And Tommy Ray and John King. So I hope I didn't leave anyone out. Always dangerous doing that. 1962, Peter Street starts his teaching career in Cornwall. And in 64, an opportunity came around for him to go to Malaysia. And he jumped at the chance, went and taught for 2 years in Malaysia. Taught history, English, taught everything, athletics, and drama. Now the drama came in handy later on, as you will see. Came back to Canada and spent 4 years at the federal government school for English as a second language to teach civil servants who are francophone, teach them English. So I wouldn't be surprised, for example, if Pincus Fleet taught Jean Chrétien how to teach. And so Jean Chrétien is your next prime minister, next chance, then Pincus Fleet is largely responsible. Be proud of yourself, I suppose. Then in 1971, Pincus went over to Leeds Collegiate and started with the Ottawa Board of Education. He was at Leeds for 10 years, and in 1981, the opportunity for a headship came around. Headship at Sir Wilfrid Laurier, and Pincus won that position. Was at Sir Will for 2 years, and then came to Canterbury in 1983. I remember in 1983, he was different then. He was very serious and very business-like, and he sat down in his department and he said, he gave us his philosophy on counseling and so on. And one of the strong points was that he kept emphasizing was the team concept. And I'll never forget it because I paid attention and I said, well, we'll see if he lives up to that. Because part of the team concept, part of the rationale was give each one of you counselors a chance to learn all the various aspects of counseling. And he certainly lived up to that. I've learned a lot personally from his example and from his giving me the opportunity to participate in all the aspects of guidance counseling. Then, in 1988, the most significant thing that ever happened to Pincus. Now, Pincus, you look up in the dictionary, and prior to 1988, you look up the word bachelor in the dictionary, and you see a picture of Pincus. 1988, he assembled the department together, and he had this really serious look, but by that time, we knew that that serious look, it meant that he had something up his sleeve, and he was really mischievous. And he said, I have something very important to announce to you. And he announced that he was going to be married. We almost fell off our chairs. And, but I'll tell you, after that marriage, which was a wonderful ceremony, Pincus was a much happier human being. He just walks around with cloud nine all the time. I don't want to embarrass Pincus, but I'll tell you a story you don't even know about. One day, I went into Pincus's office. By the way, that's another thing about Pincus. He said, look, you've got something on your mind. If my door is closed, knock on it and walk in. My door's open. Walk in. I'll stop whatever I'm doing if it's important for you to come to my office, it's important enough for me to listen to you. And I took him up on that many, many times over the years. But there was this one time that I went into his office, and it was late in the afternoon, and I'm probably boring, monotonous in my tone. So anyway, the more I talked to them about whatever was on my mind, I found that the eyes were closing. And his head was starting to nod. And the next thing I knew, and there was no motion. So I thought to myself, is he dead? No, he wasn't dead. So I tippy-toed out of there. And then I went back to my own office. I was a little annoyed. And then I gave it some more thought. And I realized, previous days, this man had probably saved a life. You know, that's something he did many times over the years. He dealt with parental abuse cases, sexual abuse, physical abuse. He never shied away from those. He hated dealing with those. He always said, you have something like that, bring it to me. I insist. And I remember afterwards, he'd always come to me and he'd say, oh, I've got this knot in my gut, like what I just went through. And he'd spend 2 hours with the student to make sure that they were okay. And there'd be follow-through the next day and the next day after that, 2 weeks, to make sure that student was all right. So that's the kind of man that I think is, still is.
Gerry, why your son didn't boo when you were speaking. I haven't trained. Bob, I really appreciate what you said. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate that. If you want to know if I'm happy to be here, to be one of the guests of honor on this occasion, the answer is yes! Bob referred to our marriage in 1988, and some of you have known me since well before that. And of course, when it became known that I was going to be getting married, this guy's synonymous with bachelorhood. Go for it. You'll get your chance. But obviously, I took advantage of the godsend opportunity and did marry the person who is my very best friend. I'm also happy to be part of a group of honorees who I've come to like as individuals and respect as fellow professionals. That is my fellow retirees on this occasion. And of course, one of them is in absentia Rachel. I'm also pleased that so many of you have come to be part of this and to honor us by your presence. Family, friends.
I've had time to think about this occasion, think about my retirement. When I was working in the lawn, or when I was doing whatever I happened to be doing. And finally, two words struck me, two words came to mind that seemed to fit the bill for me. And those words are, when I look back at my 30 years in education, those words are that I feel blessed and fortunate. For one, the career seemed to suit me. Seemed to suit me as an individual. And, you know, one of the things we do in student services, we try to help students find their niche in life. And as we all know, finding one's niche is a process. It doesn't happen at a moment. And finding education was for me a very good thing. Bob referred to the various places in which I've worked. And I think I've been fortunate in that I've worked in very good places. From my very first school, the Cornwall Collegiate and Secondary School, a school of which I have fond memories to this day, to my experience in Malaysia, an outstanding experience at the Canal Government Secondary School, which was surrounded on three sides by the Borneo jungle, and on one side by a river that's about the width of the Ottawa River, and the tides at times were about 20 feet high. So that was really a unique experience. To my various experiences at schools in Ottawa, now I put my experience with government secondary school aside, it's slightly different, but certainly any of the secondary schools in which I worked were really fine places, and I have fond memories and fond recollections of my experiences in those places. The people with whom I worked were absolutely fine human beings and solid professionals. I can look back at friendships that I've developed at the College of Education prior to my going to Cornwall, and friendships that I've retained to this day, and certainly friendships that go back to my days in Cornwall. The students, so many of them, fine young people, a pleasure to work with. No question, we all know about the students who cause us trouble, students who cause us heartache. We know the students who cause us grief, but a vast majority of them are fine, have been and continue to be fine young people, a pleasure to work with. Most of you are classroom teachers or have been classroom teachers. Some of you have been in guidance. And it's been a pleasure for me to be able to say to a student, and certainly the counselors can identify this, even the classroom teachers or former classroom teachers, people who've gone into administration. It's a pleasure to be able to say, this has been great, this has been wonderful, I really enjoyed this. And that kind of experience is one that was repeated so many times. And I like to think in the places in which I've worked, and the people with whom I've worked, with the staff, with professional organizations, and here in Ottawa, I was actually especially in the area of professional development and subject council. I like to think that I've made contributions to the individuals or to the organizations. I think in retrospect that I really have. And I feel good about that. And I guess when I use the words blessed and fortunate, the contributions that I've made, or that I feel I've made, Bob alluded to some of them. I guess I feel blessed and fortunate that I was able to make those contributions. I was fortunate in, as Bob referred to my coming into the Ottawa Board, I was fortunate that I was hired in '71 by the Ottawa Board. I was then hired as the ad. I happened to notice this. It was a day in June. Positions are filled. I was ready to continue working at the Government Language Bureau for another year, and I really didn't want to continue there. on with you, and I had been trying to get into a secondary school in counseling, and there was an ad, senior counselor, lead collegiate. I remember calling the school, and on behalf of the principal, the late George Loughlin, Mike McGuire interviewed me. And he told me there's so many people not placed, have applicants, so many applicants. And for whatever reason, Mike made a good decision. Gave me the job, or the job was offered to me by the principal. That was through Mike McGuire. In '83, I came to Canterbury. Now, that was a really good decision. I'm so pleased about that. I couldn't think of a better school at which to finish my career than Canterbury High School. There are so many wonderful things about this school. When I came to Canterbury, John King was the principal, and John had been a principal of mine at Glebe Collegiate. John and I seemed to cross paths over many years prior to Glebe Collegiate. I remember, I forget what I was doing with my life at that time, but I met John downtown somewhere before I was with the Ottawa Board. I don't know if you remember this, John, but I said something about I'd like to get into a high school, and I think you were at one of the vocational schools at the time. And you said, I only thought of it now, during this presentation, you said, well, if ever you're ready to do that, give me a phone call. Well, I didn't call you, I didn't have to call you. I guess I did it on my own merit, but we ended up working together in a couple of schools, and those were very good experiences. You were a very good principal for me as a counselor, and then for me as a head of guidance. Also at Canterbury, of course, Anna Bowles was principal for, was it a year or 2 years? 2 years. Anna and I go back to Glebe Collegiate. Interesting enough, John was principal at Glebe, so it sounds a little incestuous. Anna and I became part of a group of friends. Now, one of the things that Anna has under her belt is a specialist in guidance. And if I'm not mistaken, Anna, you did some of your practicum in guidance under me as your head. So I taught you all, what's that? With me. And I taught you all, I know, look where it got you.
2 minutes.
Canterbury is a school with an awful lot of heart, a tremendous heart. There's time for the individual. The staff at Canterbury, time and time again, here I'm speaking from the perspective of the head of student services, time and time again has reached out to individuals in need. A wonderful setting for a head of guidance. My fellow heads, a fine group of leaders to work with, absolutely tops. Beyond the staff, so many times there were an extra set of eyes and ears for the student service department, alerting us to students in need. And of course, that includes our own secretary in guidance and her predecessors, the present secretary, of course, Pam Kovla, and the student services team, a group of people I am absolutely proud to be part of. Whatever I say about any one of them, I can say about all of them. First, the support team. Nancy Khalil is with us, a top-notch social worker. In the support team, Andy Roberts and Bill Smith. Then, among the counselors, George Roberts, a person who came to us this year, tremendous heart, just a wonderful individual, and an awful lot of professional competence. Heather Everett, a person who leads with her spirit, who reaches out time and time again. Again, anything I say about anyone could be said about all the others. Janet McDermott, who came a few years ago and brought so much strength with her and so much support. A wonderful individual who again reaches out as a
personally and professionally. Janet started, together with the late Bill Roberts, started the peer counselors at Canterbury. And Bob Patterson, who's been with me part-time or full-time since I became a head of guidance at this school. A man who has given of his time and time again. He's reached out, he's extended himself when we needed more strength years ago and we simply didn't have it. Bob was there to pick up whatever slack there was. An absolutely fine person who have been working with for the past 9 years. I think I've got it really good here at Canterbury. I couldn't ask for better and I couldn't ask for more. So, why quit? Why retire? Well, if I may borrow from Ecclesiastes, there is a time for everything. And for me, the time to retire is right now.
So in the morning, Shirley's room is on the west side of the building on the second floor. So when she went in the morning, she opens up the window. Now, as those of you who teach here, you know there's windows at Canterbury at the bottom of the window, and they open into the classroom, like most of them. So, last period in the afternoon, the sun is now starting to get around. So Shirley decides that she will go over and lower the blind, block out the sun. Now, what can go wrong, right? So she walks over, takes the cord, pulls it to lower the blind. The entire blind comes right out of the ceiling and shoots out the window. The first year she was at Canterbury, she would come in to me at least once a week and tell me. Well, she'd start off by saying, "Is it me? Is it me?" And then she'd tell me this, "God, Shirley, it is you." Maybe it's Salmon's Law that got her from Alma, where she started. 4 years later, she went to Deep River. A year later, to Peterborough, and then came to Ottawa and went to Nepean. Now, I know she was at Nepean for 22 years, but weird things are not allowed to happen at Nepean, right? Parents won't let them pay. Except, while circumstances dictated otherwise, they were renovating the building. She had to move up elsewhere, so she went to Brookfield, then came to Canterbury. Now, when she came to Canterbury, she came over in June so we talked about her timetable and so on. And she'd done informed, we had her timetable room and everything, informed us that she couldn't teach. All the math rooms were up on the second floor. Side by side, but looking at all the hallways and the rooms and everything in Canterbury, and carpet in those days. Shirley was allergic to everything. She couldn't teach in a room that had carpet. So she said, well, the timetable's fine, but I have to find another place to teach. So we hunted around, and Doc Stamp with the BP finally found her room. It was down on the first floor, and room 122. It had newly tiled, all cleaned up and everything, so we're going to perfect. So anyway, as it happened, during that summer or whatever, the enrollment had increased in the Arts Canterbury section. So in September, Shirley starts teaching in this room, and for 2 or 3 periods, right next door, they scheduled an instrumental music. Well, I don't know what went on there, but Shirley coped with it, because that is Shirley. She is able to cope with everything that happens to her. And I know that we talk about, we call ourselves a profession. Well, the reason why we were able to do that is because of people like Shirley Zanon who approach their job with professionalism. She is a true professional. She decided a long time ago that the only way students can learn math is by working hard. She insists on that. But at the same time, she has insisted that students learn math, but at the same time learn. She has been an absolute pleasure to have in the math department. And there are two groups of people. One group is the type of person who will volunteer for anything, and Shirley is like that. Whatever I want to do, and sometimes before I even knew that I needed it done, Shirley is volunteering. She has been an absolute addition, terrific addition to our school, and I know that she has been in every school that she's taught. On behalf of the staff, all the staff, your friends who are here, and all the students that you've taught, I want to say thank you, Shirley, for your contribution to education. It has been terrific. Shirley is going to do really what you're supposed to do when you retire, and that's nothing. Except maybe take a second language, because she wants to know what her in-laws are talking about when she gets back. Anyway, Shirley, you come forward.
I have two faces, one comedy and one tragedy. That's because I'm a Canterbury and I have to adapt. But if it's all my fault, how come for the last 4 years I've had two heads? I mean, chance. You know, some days it's Max and some days it's the kids. I really love the timetable they've given me. The committee is tremendous. That's great for group work. Carrying on, I think we should be I think this is going to be my head and shoulders talk because you heard what Max said. The reason I survived is that I had so many people who lean on. Just that. Bachman told me there wasn't every principal that would want to take me because, you know, like I was me, so. Dan Lynch was very good to do that at Brookfield. Bill Mel, Brookfield, and a few other shoulders. That went fine. What he didn't tell you was, after a year and a half there, they decided to gut the math department. And so I had to leave because there was going to be too much going there. So that's how I came to Canada. When I was at Nepean, it was the golden years for math, because that was the math science program. All my friends were here in Nepean. You know how easy it is to teach math to future engineers and so on. When I left, I didn't realize I was going to be in culture shock. I'm in a house and it's 1,000 people, one can feel isolated. Well, I'll tell you, when I went in those new classrooms and shut the door, and the kids all looked at me and they said, "Hey, you're in." I couldn't believe it. I really and people, like for instance at Canterbury, well, you've seen what the cafeteria staff does. They make me a lunch like that every day. It's super. It's super. And when I first came, Andre Charlebois gave up his room once. He was supposed to have room 122. And Mike Martin and his staff said, "Oh, I can eat off my board and all that, but I don't have jobs that time." Come on. And I think what I didn't realize until 6 years ago was how much we need to support. Like I've had it from administration, like this ways that we wouldn't think of it. When Anna and Joy Dixon came, what they did was fix up the staff rooms and people came in and they gathered and the fridge in there, a dishwasher and so on. I didn't know those things, those material things were so important to draw them in there. So I really thank them for that. It's a magic moment here. I guess what I am is really with envy that the arts people are so successful, and I felt it was reached to that level. I mean, any of you that saw the Music Man, Requiem, the artwork, and that Tchaikovsky we just had. It's over now. It's closed now. So it's been a great experience. I wouldn't have wanted to miss it, but I wish I could have sort of come at it some other way. Because this is sort of walking from place to place. The other support group is OSSPS. Well, we've had two Barrys and Larry. The names all seem to rhyme. Bob here. I've got some advice for all of you. When they tell you to do something like fill out this form and apply for that, please do it, because I almost did. I would have been a whole lot poorer. I really thank them for their friendly persuasion. It's just great to see you all here and get to see what our social committee can do. Those things are just, they're just so. I don't think I'm ready to retire yet. I just heard all the rest of them, and I'm still quite angry about what's happening to education. And what I'd like you all to do, and I hope I can help you from the outside, because I don't think I'll let you back in, is take back the classroom.
Right. I'd just like to, excuse me. Just before I make a couple of comments, Gerry would like to make a short presentation.
There are other fellows coming over next year to strengthen the staff here. Great to meet you. Welcome.
So many people came out to honor our retirees, and I'd like to give special thanks to Sheila Meggs and the Social Committee.
And now Thunder.
Now Thunder. This is the second year the ladies in our cafeteria have set up a lovely e-sports and their commitments. Really, really good. I'd also like to thank the presenters. I was quite surprised learning so much about our retirees and we had a few new comedians in our And once again, I hope our retirees will come back and see us again next year.